first vegetable I want to talk to you about is lettuce. Lettuce is really easy to grow, provided you don't use too much water when trying to sprout them. Lettuce is notorious for having root rot if you overwater it when you're sprouting them. The best thing to do is get a 50% mixture of seed germination compound with a 50% mixture of perlite. Mix it together and you'll have much better success rates. Lettuce will take about 45 days for you to be able to put in the ground, but then it starts to really mature quickly. It grows well and it loves cold weather. It's a very hardy, frost tolerant plant. So if you live in colder areas, this is definitely a winner. We don't grow it for the hearts. We love to pick the outer leaves and do that about every week. It's perfect for that. But if you want to grow it for hearts, beware. You have to worry about slugs and you have to worry about other pests that will eat the heart out from under you. So keep an eye on it. Growing it and picking the lettuce leaves is really a good way to go. The benefit of a romaine variety is not only is it frost tolerant, but it's also heat tolerant. So it's much more tolerant to heat and it doesn't bolt as easily as a lot of the other lettuces. Carrots are great to grow for the fall season. They're really frost tolerant, so if you live in a cold environment, these are perfect for you. And the colder it gets, the sweeter they get. And there's no vegetable that kids love growing and picking more than carrots. So grow your carrots. It's a perfect time. They take a long time to grow, so you're gonna need to get them in the ground soon. This is a Shin Kuroda variety. It's a Japanese variety, and we really love to grow these because they're a big, fat, shorter carrot that are really meaty with lots of food on them and super easy to grow. Always direct sow your carrots. Dig a little trench in the ground, sprinkle the seeds in, fill it back up, water it in. Keep an eye on it. Don't let them dry out until you start to see them coming out, and they're a great crop for the winter. These take about 75 days from the time you see the plant coming up out of the ground until they're ready to harvest. Keep an eye out. If you ever see the leaves turn purple, that means you've got a little issue with carrot root fly. Next vegetable are scallions or bunching onions. They don't form a bulb. You use them for like a salad onion or a green onion. They're delicious. And we like to grow green onions or scallions all year long. They're really easy to grow. They're very forgiving. They're very durable and resilient. And if you make a big mistake with onions, they'll usually be forgiving of you. The nice thing about growing scallions is you can go out to your yard whenever you need them and pick out a few from each clump. The rest will get bigger, move on to the next clump, pick out a few from there. So you're always picking out the bigger onions in each clump. It's because you're always picking out the biggest onions in every clump and letting the smaller ones get bigger. Scallions and bunching onions provide a really, really great food source for an extended period of time. Onions take about 60 days after they start to come up before you can actually start harvesting them. And remember, harvest the biggest ones first out of every clump, because I recommend you plant 9 onion seeds in each module tray. And as those scallions grow up or those bunching onions grow up, you harvest the biggest ones out of each clump. And then you go to the next clump, the biggest ones, the next clump, the biggest ones. The smaller ones will get bigger, and the following time you go out and harvest those. It's a really long harvest period for onions and a really worthwhile endeavor. Again, very, very frost tolerant. And you'll never taste anything like a homegrown onion. Way more flavor, way more in your face, way more pungent, and way healthier. The next one we love to do, cucumbers. Very, very easy to grow. Cucumbers really just want to grow. They want to take off. We love to grow them up a string, keeps them off the ground, makes them really easy to deal with, keeps them from getting powdery mildew. And don't worry, this is not too late for you to get these cucumbers growing, get harvest off them. It's a perfect time of year. These take about 60 days until you can harvest them once the plants are going. They work really, really well. Harvest them small. The plant will keep putting out more fruit. You never want to let your cucumbers get really big on the vine, because what happens is the plant will think it's made viable seed to produce a next generation of cucumber plant, and it'll quit producing food. This is the one seed that we're talking about right now that's frost sensitive. So if you get an early frost, your cucumbers are for the most part toast. So now we've got down to my favorite vegetable to grow this time of year. And what's that? It's a brassica. I'm talking about cabbage. We love growing Napa cabbage this time of year. If you try to grow this in the spring, it's really difficult. It gets hammered really easy by bugs. Grow this as a winter variety. It works really, really well. Any of the more pointed varieties of cabbage as opposed to round do much better in a short growing season. So they tend to hard up quicker, they tend to come up quicker, whereas the round versions are slower growing. They're typically a much larger head. So we love growing Napa cabbage in the winter. It's really, really sweet when you get it. It's totally frost tolerant, so if you get even a snow, this thing will make it through. These take less than 60 days before you're harvesting a head of Napa cabbage. Now, how do you know when your cabbage is ready? You want to go by feel. So go out there when it's time. Squeeze the head of cabbage. That's right, squeeze the head of cabbage. If it's firm and hard to the touch, it's really ready to come out of the ground. You want to pull it out before it splits. If it gets too hard, it'll split on you and it won't store. If it's still soft and squishy or has some soft parts to it, let it grow a little bit longer. It'll size up for you. Well, I hope you learned something from this video about the 5 seeds that are great to grow this time of year. If you learned anything or you like this, please hit me up with a like. Subscribe if you already haven't. It totally helps me out. And I'll see you next time. Have a great day.